Hello everyone, this is Tom Ray here from eMaint University. I am the e-learning and content manager, and today we're going to be talking about Fluke Mobile for eMaint X4, specifically work order management. So for us to get started, what I'm going to do is I have my iPad here. I'm going to get logged into Fluke Mobile on my iPad. I'm going to be recording this screen and putting it up here, so bear with me. All right. I am now logged in on Fluke Mobile, and you will see this screen up above me. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to look at work orders. But before we start, what I would like to do is I would like to show you the push notification and how that works. We're going to go into the X4 account that this Fluke Mobile account is attached to, which is called my Tom Ray Demo. And I have a work order here that's going to be assigned to Bruce Wayne, who I am logged in Fluke Mobile as. It's for the McLaren, and it says the bolts came out of the floorboard like in Fast and Furious. So, okay, let's go ahead and let's save this new record. And then on the iPad, let's see when we get that push notification. And there it is. As long as the iPad has the Fluke Mobile app logged in and it has it timed out, it can be in the background. It does not have to be in the foreground, and you will still get those push notifications. So that's the one thing. So I wanted to show you the push notifications. So now let's actually go through the work orders and see what we can do here. So I'm going to switch back to this screen real quick. And the iPad should still be up here somewhere, so no worries. So number one, what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at the search function. The search function is on the top right up here. You have the magnifying glass. You can click that magnifying glass and you can search for work order number, the description, the work order type, or you can even search by having a barcode, the asset ID. I'm going to demonstrate that right now. So I have an asset ID here of the Ford GT350R number 2. I'm going to scan it and we'll see what happens when we scan that. So we're going to search for any work order that's been for the 350R02, and it looks like the 350R02 has not had any work orders. So that's a good thing, right? As you can see, the 350R-02 did not have any work orders. However, the 350R does. It has several here. There's some completed, some that are paused, and some that are assigned. You could have also searched, instead of using the barcode scanner, you could have searched by the description. If you have 2 letters, you can type GT and hit search. You must have at least 2 letters. It'll show there's the GT350R in the work order list. And this is, I could also, if I wanted to, let's get rid of the GT up here. Search by any work order that is emergency. Click search. And these would show the emergency work orders. Keep in mind, these are all work orders that have that emergency in them. So again, now looking at the work order list view, what we can also do here is we can sort by 3 different criteria: by assigned date, priority, or work order number. And you can sort ascending or descending by any of those 3 fields. I typically like to go by work order number or the date. So I'm going to click here. There's 407. Click it again. And there's 573 to show ascending and descending. Here's the one that was just assigned to us with a priority of 10. So now let's talk about what the little assigned, the little orange dot means, the red dot paused, and there is also a green one here that you'll see if I start a work order. So assigned means no one has ever been inside of this work order. Paused means I have been into the work order, or someone has been, and as you can see here, when I click on labor charges, there is some type of labor charge already attached to this work order. So let's take a look at one here. The one I want to look at is the C8 oil change because it has procedures in it. So if I click the C8 oil change here, I am allowed to look through the top tabs, like to see the procedures, to see the documents without being signed into the work order. If those things existed, I could do that by signing into the work before I sign into the work order. So let's actually sign into one and start looking at it. So I'm going to sign into the C8 oil change one, click the start button. You will see when I click the start button, the timer above me will start ticking off the time. If I stop this timer before it reaches 1 minute, then that labor charge will not be calculated and added to the work order. If it's more than a minute, it will be added to the work order. So let's start by looking at these procedures. The procedures in this case are pass, fail, urgent repair, but there's one interesting thing that it'll do for you is it'll automatically scroll them up as you click on them. So if I click pass for procedure 10, it automatically takes me to 20, and then 30, and then 40. Now, if I fail 50, whenever this work order is saved, that is going to create a follow-up work order on that task that was 50. The follow-up work order will read task 50, put the new oil filter and tighten it 3/4. I could also give it some task text here if I wanted to and give them a reason for why it failed, if that's what I want to do. In this case, I'm not really interested in that. I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to click the X and get out of there. I could also edit it and change my mind. Maybe it really passed. Maybe I made a mistake. So you can go through all these. If you click on urgent repair, it will take you to create a brand new work order off of that urgent repair, because maybe this is something that you noticed when you did the work order, but maybe you don't know how to fix it. So if this was an urgent repair here, I could assign it to someone else. It's automatically going to be assigned to me, but I could also assign it to someone else. And this is where you can also use the barcode reader, which I do have a contact here that I barcoded. Let me find them. Here it is. So I'm going to use the barcode reader to pick up this contact. Okay, it's Barry Allen. So I'm going to click on this guy. Looks good. And I can now create this work order. You have some choices here. Now, because I am also attached to this work order, I can create it and start it because it's assigned to me because I made it. Now, I could have hit the little X next to my name to take myself out of the assignment. In that case, it would only allow me to create the work order without starting. In this case, I'm going to create it without starting because I want Barry to do the work and I want to finish what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this one. Now, all of my procedures have passed. It is technically possible, if you needed to add another procedure, that you could actually do it here if you have the permissions. You could hit the plus button and make another procedure. I'm going to call it test drive. And I'm going to add it in. So there's my test drive. It put it in right there at number 9 because that's where I was when I did it. And if you want, what you can do here is you can type in a text by clicking the little arrows here and say very fast. Now, one interesting thing here is depending upon the device that you're using, you might have the option to use speech to text like it is doing right now. And I'm going to pass this one. So as you see, you can add those procedures in. Let's look at documents. Now, this work order does not have any documents on it, but we could add some if we want. So for example, if we wanted to add a photo, we could hit the plus button and we could take a picture. Like here's a picture of the computer screen that we're looking at right now. And click use photo. And then at the bottom, we're going to click on the attach file button. You could also add in a document. Maybe you had, I'm on an iPad, maybe I had an editing document up where I was typing in some text, and then I saved it to PDF onto my iPad, I could add it here on Asset Documents if I wanted to. This is a great place where people can put manuals or anything PDF that you might want to put in for the technician to follow when they're creating the when they're finishing rather the work order. Let's look at part charges. Now, I can add a part charge manually by hitting the plus button, and I can search for these parts. Now, one thing you'll notice is right now I have checked the little checkbox that says Asset Parts Only. So if I scroll down, I can see these 3 parts have been used for this specific asset before. So it might be easier to find parts that way. But I'm going to add 3 new parts today that have not been used for the asset. So I'm going to uncheck that little box, and we're going to do the barcode scanner once more. So we're going to do part A, part B, and part C. I've made 3 barcodes for those, part A, B, and C, and we're going to play with those right now. I'm going to hit the barcode little guy here, and we're going to go to do part A. Click the search box. Here's part A. Click into it. Location is Maine. We're going to take one of them, hit our checkbox, and add the part to the work order. Now, if I'd made a mistake, I can click the Return X to Inventory, and I can return the part back to the inventory if I've made a mistake, or if I didn't need that part. Hit the plus button, the barcode reader. We're going to go to part B. Find it. There it is. Search for it. You see the Asset Parts Only checkbox is there, so we need to uncheck that box and search for it. I totally did that on purpose. Hit part B, and same thing, main, quantity of 1, save the quantity, and add it to the work order. So you can see how easy that is. I'm not going to go ahead and do part C because you kind of get the hang of it, I'm sure, by now. But if you did not do barcodes, you could hit the plus button, and then you could search by any of the criteria we have up here. The part number, description, manufacturer, model, or vendor. Any of those would work. But make sure you uncheck Asset Parts Only if it's not one that's been used for this asset in the past. Now, the ones we just used, part A and B, are not showing up here yet because this work order has not been closed. The next time someone does work on this asset of this C8 Corvette, those 2 parts will now be associated to the asset. So we're good with the parts. We're going to go back now, cancel this because we've already added our 2 parts, and let's take a look at the labor charges. Now, when it comes to labor, you can see that Bruce Wayne is currently tracking the labor. He has 8 minutes so far in this work order. Now, I could stop this, which I've just done, and there's the labor charge for what he had just done, 0.13 hours. And then I could manually add in more time if I needed to do that right here. By clicking the hours, I could put 1 hour and add in 1 hour there if I wanted to. I could also hit the plus button and add labor for somebody else. Maybe if there's someone else that did work there, I could add labor for them. By typing in 2 letters, we'll type in, who else is in this account? Let's type in DI. There you are, Diana Prince. I knew she was in there. We'll give her an hour worth of labor for this work order as well. So as many people as you want can have labor attached to it. And you can also, where it says long description, you could put in what they did, type in the work that they did, and then click your blue checkbox, and you could document exactly what that person did. Now, let's move on to the last part of this, which is the assignments part. In assignments, one use case we have here is, suppose Bruce started this work, but he could not finish, and he wants to have someone else finish it for him. Well, what he can do is this. He can start typing someone else. We'll try Diana again. I think they get along really well. So Diana is going to save the day and finish up this work. So now she's been assigned to it, so when she logs into her Fluke Mobile, she will see this work order. But what does this mean for Bruce? What does he need to do now? Well, at the details of the work order, Bruce is going to click on the complete button, and he's going to do assignment only. This will take this work order off of Bruce's queue and keep it out there open in the system, and now Diana will be able to see it whenever she logs in. But for Bruce, it's now pretty much over. He no longer has to worry about it. So there you have it. What we have done today is we have shown only the work order part of X4 Fluke Mobile. We've looked at the details, procedures, documents, part charges, labor charges, and assignments. The last thing that I'll show you is we can also hit the plus button here. We'll go back to the list view here. We can hit the plus button here, and we can add a new work order. And there is our urgent repair that we did earlier. You can hit the plus button here, and you can create a brand new work order. We can click Select Asset. When you select the asset, if you have a barcode, which I happen to have, we could scan the barcode, which I'm going to do right now. And there is our asset that we just scanned. So now we could assign it to someone. It's automatically going to be assigned to me. Give it a description. We'll say change tires and create work order. Now we have some options here. We can create it and start it now, or create without starting. We're going to create without starting. And there you have it. Now look at the temp _4483. That is because it's syncing with the server. If I refresh this, it's now 575. It just takes it a moment to sync with the server. All right, that concludes this part of the training about work order management in X4 Fluke Mobile. Stay tuned for more videos talking about assets and work requests, and then the top right part of the screen, the information and the events. So this is Tom from eMaint, eLearning and Content Manager. I will see you on the next one.